Hi, welcome to Let's Talk About Love Stories from Everywhere. I'm your host, Jill Ferguson, and today my guest is Peter Young, who is dialing in from Hawaii. Which island you on?
Oahu, actually.
And I'm sure the weather's beautiful today, right?
Yeah, it's a balmy 84 today, so
Nice.
it'll drop to 78 this evening, and we deal with it.
So you work in higher education, but you
Yes.
also seem to do a lot of work in AI, and your career has been, it looks like it's been tech focused and education focused. How did you end up going into those kinds of things?
Gosh, I'm going to date myself, but in high school, we lived in China at the time, and our high school was an international school. Said we have a nice big tall building with nothing on the third floor, and Singer Corporation, yes, the sewing machine people, joined with ADP, the kind of very service company. We'd like to rent that, and my school said, but you have to teach some high school kids Fortran, and you have to supply us with payroll that's the rent.
Wow.
And they said, okay. So I got kind of tapped to go learn Fortran and play on this huge, big machine, which has the computing power of an iPhone basically today. But that's how I got started in kind of tech, was way back in the day, and I kind of just stuck with it. I liked it, not to the point of diving deep into coding and drinking Jolt Cola, but playing on kind of what can be done, how can it be more efficient, etc. And that's kind of been my theme for my whole career and so forth. And then teaching. Both my parents are teachers. My brother's a teacher. My grandfather actually was one of the founding professors of Sacramento State University. That was kind of a DNA, kind of natural also. So I kind of stuck with that, and we moved eventually to Silicon Valley. And there were no teaching jobs at the time. And so I kind of applied to a couple early dot bombs, as we like to call them now, and got some great experience tinkering with HTML 1.0. And then finally, you and I joined together at Notre Dame de Namur University, and I stayed university and a little bit of high tech for the rest of my career. And it's culminated here in Hawaii with artificial intelligence and going very, very deep into that and asking, I think, lots of ethical questions, copyright, legal questions. But then on the flip side, how can we better teach writing? How can we better prepare our students and our classrooms for this particular subject? Or did we skip something? And artificial intelligence has, for me, provided, I think, a very nice technical backdrop so that I can be considerably more efficient in the classroom. Anyway, that's a long answer for your short question, but.
Well, so your parents, did they teach English or something else when you were growing up in China, at the beginning in China?
It's interesting you say that, because they were both industrial arts teachers.
Okay.
My dad taught metal shop and wood shop, and my mother taught welding and pottery. And
what a beautiful combination, welding and pottery.
No, it was very, very nice. And so we had colors in our house, and we had paintings. Some of them were really bad, but that's okay. We had lots of clay pots. My dad made most of the furniture, which is actually sumptuous and beautiful. And then we just kind of traveled all over the world, because they said, let's move to Hong Kong. Okay. And so I think to your theme and so forth, my parents were early adopters of what you're suggesting with your company and so forth, kind of love. They would come to the table a bit tongue in cheek and say, okay, boys, we're going to move to Taiwan, but we're going to vote because we're a democracy. Okay. And they said, so we can move to Taiwan and you boys can be miserable. Or we can move to Taiwan and you boys can have fun and be very festive and just really excited. And my brother and I are not the sharpest tools in the shed, but we looked at each other kind of going, we like fun. And so we moved to Taiwan. I mean, that's how we moved everywhere, is that they just kind of said, what do you boys think? And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it all over again, in part because they loved, if you will, what they were doing. We were a strong family, I think, because of all that. And Steve, my younger brother, and I think, turned out okay because of all that.
And from what I know about you, or what little I know about you, I believe that you have that strong love of traveling or taking on adventures. Yeah.
Yeah. Wanderlust. Yeah.
Yeah. Because how old were you when you moved from the United States?
From the continent to American Samoa, which is an American territory. 3, 4.
Okay. So you moved to American Samoa first as a child and then to China?
And kind of all over and so forth.
Yeah.
I graduated from high school in Taiwan, some college in Taiwan.
Do you speak Chinese at all? Yeah. Fluently or?
You kind of lose it over time.
Yeah.
I can get by in restaurants, bars. I can get out of fights,
You lived in Taiwan and in Hong Kong, so you speak Cantonese, or do you speak Mandarin too?
Actually, interesting. The British, in their infinite wisdom,
the British, so,
in their infinite wisdom, forced people in the schools to learn Mandarin before even negotiating with the People's Republic of China, and so you had lots of, especially younger folks, learning Mandarin on the side of knowing Cantonese and so forth, and then of course British English. And so and all my friends spoke English there also, but in Taiwan you had to learn the language real quick because they didn't speak English. Not good or bad, not passing judgment. It's just that
it's just a fact.
You can only do the potty dance so long, and it's no longer cute.
That's right.
So my dad would wake me up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and say, we're going to go to the market. Why do I gotta go? Because you're going to be my translator. Oh, Dad, come on.
Where are you in the birth order with your brother?
I'm older, and as we both have agreed, I'm much better looking, but that's a starting thing. Yes.
I thought you were going to tell me you were wiser too, but yeah.
Oh, no. No, I never claimed that. I think that, the whole idea of, and again, don't mean to steal thunder, but the whole thing of kind of love, and especially with the classroom, is to, I think, and I got this from my parents and grandparents, is to show empathy for students, to understand a little bit what they're going through. And right now, you cannot put AI back in the bottle. People, I've still got professor friends that kind of go, oh, no, it is the devil's incarnation. It's like, no, it's not going to be in my classroom. Yeah, it is. I'm sorry, it is. So how do we kind of deal with it? And that's why I think that in terms of how we don't coddle. I don't coddle my students, but I just tell them, hey, I got it. Let's work together, not against each other. You don't need to feel like you're going to get over on me or cheat. Yeah. And, I know I'm getting off on a bit of a tangent,
but I agree with that with the AI. And I also, AI right now, the way it does things, especially if it's doing writing, right? It has a very specific way it does writing, and it's very identifiable. It uses way more M dashes and doesn't even use them correctly. And it loves to make words in bold type, even though it doesn't need certain words in bold type, right? And it has this, it's almost like it writes social media in regular long form for social media in long form. And so it's easy to tell who's used AI for something and who, at least I feel like it's easy to tell, and who hasn't, or who uses AI and then edits, right? Or uses it for the research part, because for research, it's amazing because it
Yeah.
can do way more research in a shorter amount of time and provide you with all the sources than you can do on your own.
Yeah, no, there's no question. But it's interesting in terms because you're a writer and so forth,
Mhm.
and a darn good one, by the way. I just
Oh,
thought.
thank you very much.
Yeah, but anyway, so so I decided because I teach kind of writing in my courses.
Mhm.
You know, right now it's political science. I was teaching in journalism and so forth. Obviously, writing there, but in terms of political science, they're writing a lot of kind of small and medium-sized papers,
Yeah.
and they're grabbing facts and hopefully citations and that kind of stuff. And so I
And hopefully they're real facts.
oh, yeah, exactly. But I said I need to rethink how I'm going to teach writing.
Mhm.
I'm not an English teacher, but I need to rethink it. And so I talked to a couple of colleagues, and so I have been adopting the Socratic method, if you will.
Mhm.
I actually encourage my students to use AI
Yeah.
to write.
Mhm.
Except I go back and then using the Socratic method, I go and ask questions. I don't tell them to rewrite this. I don't ask them, I ask them, so who is the main character in this? What is the purpose of this, what this diatribe that you're pontificating on and so forth? And all of a sudden they start to think and they're going, well, it's Mary Jones. It's like, okay, where's Mary Jones show up? Like third paragraph. You buried the lead. So where do you put it? Not put it in. I don't tell them where to put it. Where do you put it? And so, interestingly enough, using that turning writing on its head, if you will, using this method and AI,
Mhm.
they begin to, I think, because I'm asking so many questions, that they begin to kind of look at their writing going, oh, and there's lots of moments and so forth. And I like that. I like that a lot. Are people still going to abuse it, AI? Yes, they are. I got it. But hopefully I'm crafting small handfuls of students to just rethink the way they approach a subject.
Well, and the thing that I like best about what you're doing is when I was a professor, the thing that I wanted to instill, regardless of what the subject was that I was teaching, if it was women in management or if it was a literature class or a writing class, I saw my role as an educator as teaching people to think critically. And so if we're looking at literature, I wasn't one of those people that's like, let's dissect the protagonist and the plot structure and all this other stuff. It was, what lessons are we learning in this that are universal lessons, regardless of where you live? Like we read a piece set in Myanmar, a whole book set in Myanmar, and it was about a singer who had been jailed under the regime that's there because they arrested a lot of artists.
Right.
And the person that they arrested that happened to be Buddhist, and all the precepts of Buddhism were in the book because he prayed and everything every day. And it's like, are these really specific to this religion, or are these universal traits like don't lie, right? Or be peaceful, love, these kind of things. Is this, and if these are universal traits, then why are we not embracing them, right? Instead of assigning, putting them in a little box or category. And so I think that AI is the same way, right? We can assign it and say, oh, it's bad or it's good or it's whatever, right? It's a really great way to, if you get a report from the doctor and it has like all your blood work, you can throw it into ChatGPT and it'll tell you what's going on. But it has so many facets and nuances and all these things where it's not just one thing, right? And I think that that's the whole point of education, is becoming somebody who doesn't just believe in X, right? It's understanding nuance. And I think that raising kids in other countries is the same thing as that, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. If I had to do all of it again, I'd do it twice. I had, just to give you a quick, another quick example. I had my students, they had a 1,500 word essay to do. And so we did the Socratic method. I asked lots of questions. And so they kind of rewrote their paper probably 2 times at least. And they all turned out much better. But I said in the end, I said, okay, you got one more assignment. Oh, Mr. Young. Gosh. And I'm going, yeah. I said, I really want you to understand AI. And I said, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go and ask AI in a prompt to list all the verbs and nouns. And I want you to sort them by total number. So Mary shows up 6 times. It should say Mary 6. Okay. And so they bring it back the next week. And I said, okay, so how about yours? I used excited 12 times. I said, and we kind of forget that we used it 4 times up here and we use it a couple times here, and all of a sudden, we get really excited at the bottom, and it's now 12 times. How many times, who's your main character? Well, Mary. How many times is Mary's name mentioned? Once. Yeah, in 1,500 words, people have to be reminded about Mary and her name. And all of a sudden they just kind of went, oh, wow. And light bulbs started going on, I think, around the room and so forth. I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but forcing these kinds of mechanical things in AI prompts them to, your point, critical thinking and so forth.
Yeah, and they become much better editors too.
Yes, actually they do.
Yeah.
And we like that a lot.
Yes, we do. That's wonderful.
So, I think that that artificial intelligence, as it sits today, is going to transform society. I don't care what people want to say about it. It just is. And we're starting to see it here in Hawaii, and I'm sure that you're seeing it in California, or across the United States for that matter, that many entry-level jobs are being pushed aside. And I think so that's a very real kind of result. But the other thing that I'm starting to see, and we've got some innovative people that don't understand what they're doing, but they want to do it. And that's the libraries. Yeah. The libraries are starting to actually step up at librarians and so forth, going, oh, you need help on the geology of volcanoes. Well, we have these sources and here, these books here, which they always have done. But you might want to think about and I'm going, wow, yay librarians and yay libraries. So I'm seeing pockets of these kinds of resulting kind of somewhat academic in their nature, but societal kinds of solutions. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I get excited about this.
Oh, no, I'm excited about it too. I love when people feel passionate about the things they're talking about on this show and always in life. So.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So you mentioned living overseas as a kid, but you've, during your adulthood, also lived overseas and traveled and done kind of maybe a little different than some people have.
I go back to how my parents allowed my brother and I to vote on going to another country. And I had a very, very loving wife who said, yeah, go. You need to bring me back some presents. I said, okay.
And she's also very passionate and accomplished in her own career.
Oh, yeah. I'll get to that in a second. But I mean, so the Army came and said I was in the National Guard, so we could work and so forth. Well, I was a teacher for most of this time at one part of that. And we always had summers off. Okay. Standard argument. And so we'd have these meetings like in May going, we've got a 3-week tour in Bangkok, Thailand. Who wants to go and be an Army liaison officer? And I'd look around and I was the only one. And people would ask me, Young, why do you want to go to all these places? And I'm going, first of all, Thai women are just sumptuously beautiful. Number 2, the food is to die for. It's the best. And number 3, the landscape. OMG, please. And it's 3 weeks. What could go wrong? And so the
somebody else was paying it. for it.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And I get a daily salary too. And I'm just
Yeah.
going, yeah. And I'm an officer. So people salute and the whole bit. And I'm just going, okay. And what's wrong with this picture?
Yeah.
So I got to go to Thailand. I got to go to Korea twice, 2 short tours in Korea. I was stationed in Guam for a year. And Janice got to visit me there on a regular basis. And so I got to go all over the United States for my job. And so it was fun. Of course, people think of Hawaii as just being kind of out there. Well, it's a little bit overseas because we are over the ocean. But here's the fun thing. I talked to my friends in the Bay Area where they can go and hop on a plane to Vegas for, $90 round trip, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom, you're there. Boom, you're back. You've lost all your money, but you had fun. I can go to Hong Kong for like $250.
Yeah.
Again, it's that kind of reaching out and touching the culture, the people, the food, etc. Of places that I've been to before and that I really love. And it's that exchange. I always like the exchange of folks and so forth. Mm-hmm. And languages. And again, I go back to languages and so forth. I always learned how to, I was a Fulbright scholar in Belarus.
Yes.
And twice. And then I was a visiting professor in Latvia. I ran the U.S. State Department's AID program in Vladivostok, Ekaterinburg, and Moscow, Russia, for a chunk of time. Mm-hmm. And it's like, yes, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that's, I think I'm a better person. I think. Yeah. I hope.
Well, and I love the idea that you've taken advantage of opportunities, right? And that your viewpoint on it was what your parents taught you when you were younger is you could choose to look at this as fun, or you could be like, they want me to go do this.
Yeah.
And you took the fun route, because I'm that way too. I mean, I love to travel, and it's like, yes, I say yes to adventure. Let's just go, right? And figure it out.
Right.
Go through all the, well, what if,
Well, the other part is that when I helped, I was with Redback Network in Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. So they put out a call. Does anybody know at least conversational Japanese and ever lived in Japan? Yes. Okay, Young, you're now in charge of setting up our Tokyo sales office. I didn't volunteer necessarily for that, but okay. And I got a group of, there's like 10 sales related folks and so forth that we're going to go over initially. We're going to train some Japanese colleagues and the like, but they were not, hardly any of them were happy. Yeah. And I said, listen, we need to, again, back to your theme of just love and just appreciation and so forth. There's some pretty cool things that I'm going to teach you and then I'm going to turn you on to, and that I want you to, really begin to appreciate, because you're going to go a long ways when you get over there. Oh, God. Okay. So we made a commitment as a group to learn 5 Japanese words a day.
Awesome.
Okay. And they struggled through and so forth. And we had like a week and a half, by the way, before we had to go over Tokyo. So it was like no time. But I would quiz them every morning. And they got over there, they just bitched and moaned. Oh my God, and the idea of tea ceremonies and the idea of 2 hands with the business card and, bowing and so forth. This is just, can't they just stay here? No. 9. Yes. Sorry, not going to happen. We get over there and the Japanese, they greet us, they bow.
Yeah.
Oh my guys, kind of instinctively just bow. And the Japanese just smiled and they shook their hands and the whole bit. And our guys were going, these people are nice.
Yeah. And if you can say Ohio gozaimasu, that
so they
just elevates you all the more.
Oh my God, let's get up. And it's like, oh, you speak Japanese so well. Oh, geez, they don't know. And we got them drunk and we got them, and we just had great times, and they started loving the food. And I'm going, what is that? Don't ask, just try it. Yeah. Okay, this is pretty good. What is it? Don't ask, continue eating. But it was that,
Yeah.
I think that it was that kind of love for culture and people and language and, atmosphere that made that office eventually pretty successful with our Japanese customers. Because then all of a sudden I started seeing, and I came back after, and I started seeing our guys kind of going, this is actually kind of cool. Can I stay here?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, you know what, you bastard, a month ago you were just going, oh no. I got to go see my 49ers. No, you don't. You can watch it on delayed TV. Don't. Anyway, I can go on about that, but I think it's trying to instill and having some success with this whole idea of purposeful kind of love for something you know nothing about.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people fear in higher education.
Yeah.
They're fearing AI. Don't fear it. It's here. Now let's embrace it. Accreditation. Oh my God, you lived accreditation.
Oh yeah.
I was on I was on NDNUs when we were, together on the accreditation team, our response team. And I just remember, I think his name is Henry, our CFO.
Yeah.
Oh God, he was just like, like, Henry, we have some pukas, some holes in the budget. I got it. Don't worry. We'll mask them over. What they want to know is, do we have the confidence and the love for our university?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And he came around. But it was, and I don't mean to be the soothsayer, and nor do you, and so forth, but it is, I think, just important to tell folks that it's actually going to be good.
Yeah. Well, and those kinds of reports and things, writing them for the accreditors was to me like a game of Tetris. Because it was like, here's all the pieces they want, and now you have to figure out how to put them together in a narrative that makes sense. And that they're going to understand, and then the supporting documents for that narrative. And it's like, let's just plug all the pieces in where they go and, provide them what they ask for. It's not that difficult.
A whole bunch of folks on the NDNU accreditation team. I just remember it was like our second meeting, and there was a draft of the report, the response, and I'm starting reading, going, wow! And I raised my hand, and it's like, yeah, Peter, we're using a whole bunch of acronyms and really big words.
Yeah.
Why do we need to have really big words in this?
Yeah.
They're not idiots, but they also don't need to slog through really big words and lots of acronyms. We don't have a lexicon. We don't have an acronym kind of translator key in there, but we're using it. Well, what would you suggest? And I said, let me take a stab at it. And so I did. And I reduced the verbiage length probably in half. Excruciatingly difficult situation. We had some issues with, so that's, it's sometimes we also compensate. Yeah. And I don't think that we in life, in business, education, just in life, we need to compromise to impress somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Not just the example you just gave totally reminded me of the thing you did with your students, which was find your nouns and verbs and list them all out and how many times, because when you start using adjectives and adverbs, it usually weakens the language, and you can always use a stronger noun and a stronger verb to say exactly that denotes or connotates meaning.
Right.
Yeah. And so that's one of my favorite editing hacks for clients is like, okay, how can we say this without using all those ly words?
I don't know if we can.
Yeah.
Because they're fearful, right?
Yeah.
They're fearful.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were talking before we started recording about, I did a consulting stint and a bunch of workshops at Hawaii Pacific University. And I was there for a week. And some of the times I was doing 3 or 4 workshops a day. And some of the same people ended up in my workshops. And there was, by day 3-ish, there was a guy that was sitting in the front row who said to me, okay, we've heard all about your canned bio all of these times. Tell us something about yourself that we haven't heard yet and that we can't find on the internet about you.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, out of my mouth comes, totally unfiltered, I have no idea where it came from, was that I have little to no fear. And the guy was like shocked in the front seat. He's like, really? I'm afraid of everything. So I did the whole, like, because spiders, clowns, mice, sticky
Sure.
things. And he's like, oh, yes, heights. And he went through this whole litany of things. And I thought that, I think that's what holds people back from experiencing life, right? It holds them back from going places and from doing all kinds of different things.
Yeah, it's okay to have a fear.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what I tell folks. That kind of, it's okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Except that you have to allow others to do it, maybe in your presence, and not freak out, because you're freaking out for you or for them because they're doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't really thought of that. I did something a little radically different than your response, but I was asked kind of the same thing just a few weeks ago. Tell us something that's like really wild. I'm going, I don't know how wild it is, but do you know what the Emmy Awards are?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's that like gold statue.
You were a judge.
And I said, I've been actually a national judge since 2006. You get to walk the red carpet? I suppose maybe I could, but I don't because it's a little far away and so forth. But yeah, no, I judged the Emmys. Oh my God. Oh, and that's the other thing that I always find interesting is that people's perception of whatever it might be. So when I tell people the Emmy situation, what's really interesting, and I tell them, I think, just I'm spitballing here, that I put on my pants the same way you do.
Yes.
One leg at a time, right? Yes, I'm a national Emmy judge. I said, and you can be semi, impressed, I guess. And yes, I've got to, judge some of the finest journalists in the entire globe. Yes, I got that part. But it's another kind of task that I just raised my hand and I said I'd help, and it's been fun.
Yeah. Wow.
You must be really smart. And, I tell them, yes, I'm incredibly smart, but,
So your wife has won an Emmy, I believe, at least one, for producing the news.
A couple of pews.
Yeah.
Mark Twain Golden Mike.
Yeah.
And she was just honored, twice, by the National Association of Television and the Arts as a Silver Circle honoree, like a lifetime award.
Yeah.
And then she was just designated as the 2025 journalism icon.
Wow.
And she was she was in San Francisco. She just was honored in San Francisco. And, I kind of said, I think I married well.
Well, I think you married well for a lot of reasons, but one of them is because I love how the two of you are secure enough in your relationship that you allow each other to thrive, even if that means you're not in the same space or state or country for a period of time.
Yeah,
right?
And we've been separated, not by love and so forth, but by job and so forth.
Yeah.
Oh, probably a half dozen times.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is this thing called, that's right, technology.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I can hop on Skype, or no longer, but I was in Belarus. She said, "No, go. I don't want to go to Belarus." Really? Okay. But it was like every third night I got on Skype, and it was at the time a little bit sketchy and so forth.
Uh-huh.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah.
I love you. So, but technology has allowed the two of us to connect and reconnect almost daily now.
Yeah.
Well,
so but that says a lot. It says a lot about your relationship. It says a lot about your respect for each other. And how you encourage each other to thrive in your careers.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
there's a lot of couples that would be intimidated, right? Or I don't want them to succeed if that means that I have to do this, right?
well, and
Or-
listen, a lot of folks, and this has happened a couple of times with a couple of my male friends, and I wanted to slap them upside the head because they're thinking about divorce. And I said, and okay, so if it's not working, then do it. He said, yeah, but I got to pay alimony. Well, that's the cost of doing business.
Yeah.
And he says, so Janice jokingly said the other day, we should get a divorce. I said, okay, all right. I said, we live in a community property state. And she says, oh, you can have the big TV. I said, okay. I said, but seriously now, I said, we live in a state where whoever makes more money pays the other a monthly maintenance fee. Translation, alimony. Really? I make a lot more money than you. Uh-huh. Okay, we'll stay together. Jeez.
You said after these decades,
So it's and that's friendship is is the key to friendship is it's not kind of the sexual love, it's just the heart love and so forth. It's the empathy, the feeling. And it's okay to get a little bit gruff with your partner and kind of go, you're an idiot. Why did you do that? I screwed up. And and then you kiss and make up kind of thing. But I try to make sure that businesses that I've consulted with, who have problems with a competitor, go and shake hands. Really, it's going to do you much better economically, and not lose employees because of they're being poached, than just kind of bad mouthing them on LinkedIn kind of thing or wherever. And they're going, that's easy for you to say. It is easy for me to say. And once you do it, it's easy for you to say.
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't really thought of that. I had my vice president of marketing at Redback many years ago, who had some falling out with the Force 10, I think it was, like VP. And I said, Jesus, you guys go to the same El Viso, Mexican restaurant. You see each other and you sit on the opposite sides of the room. Go over and buy him a beer. Don't even ask him. Buy him a beer. Why would I do that? I said, because you want to show that you care about somebody.
Yeah.
I don't care about him. Yes, you do. Or you wouldn't keep this argument up. He did it. They're actually pretty good friends now. And I don't mean to be the matchmaker, but that's how I try to work with professional clients as well as, friends and so forth.
Yeah. Well, kindness never hurts.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't. It's a very good thing, and it doesn't take a lot, right? You and I both know that. So, it's I could beat people up for doing a poor job or whatever, right? Or I can take a different approach. Sometimes you got to beat them up, but most of the time you don't. I don't know. Maybe that's been your experience, or not. But I'm thinking
totally is my experience. I believe that there's usually, there's ways to communicate that keep peace and resolve differences. Or even if you need to shatter the piece for a few minutes, you can still resolve differences, because we basically, as humans, all want the same things. And which is why I think that the traveling and experiencing other people and cultures all over the place is important, because once you do that, you realize, there's some differences, but that everybody's pretty much similar too. They all have the same wants and needs.
I'll leave you with this story because I know we're coming towards the end. But when I was in Belarus, I first got there, and I didn't know a lot of Russian. I had a few words and so forth, but I was starting to learn, and I was going to take Russian lessons. That's starting the next week. But my handler, Irina, I come in the office and she says, Peter, you must learn some Russian phrases. I said, okay, I'm trying, but do you have any suggestions? Da, okay. I need you to learn how to say I love you. Okay, and she wrote it out for me. And she says, I said, okay, I'll practice that. And she says, and one more phrase. I said, okay, will you marry me? And I said, okay, there's a cultural thread here, but okay, Irina, why both of these phrases? And she said, no, you don't need to worry. When you say this to girls in bar, they will think that you're very cute and they will take care of you. Okay, I'm not going to get married. I'm like, no, 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 no. They just think it's you're making an attempt and this is just cute. It's good. Okay, good. Thank you. And so, I learned how to say those phrases, and and actually it turned out to be cute, and that's how. And what was interesting is that the first time, and I don't think I told you this part, we got kicked out of Belarus.
No.
The president didn't like George Bush. No one liked really George Bush, and George Bush didn't like Lukashenko, so he kicked the ambassador out first. And I'm attached to the U.S. Embassy. All my peeps are, and I'm chief of academic party at this point. And so then the U.S. Embassy is reduced in half, and the Belarusian embassy in Washington, D.C. is reduced in half. We get down to 3 Americans and then the 8 Marines that are guarding the embassy. And so I got a phone call from the Undersecretary of State for Eastern European Affairs. Peter, yes, ma'am. Look out your window. Okay, yeah, I see it. It's snowing, by the way. Yeah, those are KGB agents looking at your apartment. Okay, hi, good. What did I do? You did nothing, but we have to get you out of the country. Yeah, when? You have 36 hours. Okay, good. So we were escorted to the airport by the KGB. Yes, KGB. And we got flown out of Belarus, and it wasn't the people, though. I can't tell you how many emails and text messages I got from my students and my fellow teachers and some business people I was working with, going, I'm so sorry, our government is stupid, So I'm just going, so is mine, but okay, maybe I'll come back. And I did. It was very interesting, things thawed and so forth. But it was that kind of, what level are we talking about?
Yeah.
In terms of this love-hate relationship building and so forth. And, everybody was kind of up here thinking the government really made a difference. We don't like you, we don't like you, okay. Mm-hmm. And really, as far as I was concerned, I didn't care about that level.
Yeah.
I probably should have, but, and I did kind of tangentially, but I really cared about this kind of lower level of people.
Yeah, it is. It's people to people that make the most difference. It's not the agencies, right? Or the corporations or the.
And that's why I have so many problems with the Bush's, sorry, she was back. The Trump's administration reducing, for instance, the Fulbright program.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a waste of money. No, it's not. You're sending American professors who are, pretty casual and wear T-shirts if they can, going into classrooms teaching in English, subjects that are not political. Mm-hmm. And it's the best layer of foreign policy that you'll ever have.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a waste of money.
Yeah, and so are Pell Grants and everything else related to education right now.
So politics have come into my life.
Yeah.
Because of that.
With very short-sightedness.
Yeah. I mean, it's that's why I think that what you're doing and your efforts and so forth becomes more and more important these days than not. I can see how some people might roll their eyes when you tell them what you do.
Yeah.
And you've experienced that.
Yeah, sure.
But it's like, you're an idiot. You don't know what you're talking about. This is good stuff.
Thank you.
Oh, well, I don't mean to be a cheerleader, but
I appreciate you being a cheerleader. That's good. Yeah, because I have some family members. I think they still aren't sure what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. So,
right.
Yeah.
And you're paying some bills, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like that's what I always kind of remind some of my friends going, why are you doing this? I'm going, well, because I'm going to go have fun and it's going to be wonderful. We're going to have a good time and I'm going to eat well and so forth. Oh, by the way, I'm getting paid for this every single time I'm over there and everything else is paid for. Really? And then they want to know how much I'm going to be making and forgetting about all the experiences I'm going, making more money per day than you are.
Isn't it? It's a shame though that that's how we value things in a culture.
Sure.
Yeah.
I agree.
As opposed to the experiences themselves and what we learned from it, which is, way more valuable than, money's great because you can buy things with it. And,
right.
But, but it's.
Did I ever get rich off of any of this stuff? No. Yeah. Am I doing okay over here? Yeah. I am. Yeah. But it's also a function of, I think, attitude and atmosphere as much as money.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much for spending part of your afternoon or late morning with me. I appreciate it. And do you have any other words of wisdom to our audience?
I want to wish you the best of luck because what you're doing is, and again, I'm putting my cheerleader uniform on. It's not a good visual, but anyway, I think it does become important. I can see how people roll their eyes when you give the broader kind of picture of what you're doing, but I got it from the moment you said hello kind of thing. And so if anybody ever needs a testimony.
Well, thank you.
Not just for, Jill, but for the concept and what it could do for business. You can give them my number because I do think that it's important to get a little bit kumbaya-ish with folks and explain stuff.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do with businesses is that sure, most businesses have a mission, vision, and values, and oftentimes it changes when new administration comes in or they want some think tank to come in and help them revamp things, right?
Sure.
But what I find is that the divisions within the whole very rarely have their own, and people themselves don't usually have their own. But if they all did and they all fed into one another, then instead of you going to work just to get a paycheck, which a lot of people do, right? Then you understand how you fit into the department you work in. And if you don't fit in well, like, should you be in a different department? Should you be doing something else? Should you make an adjustment? Is there something you'd love more to be doing? Right. And it ends up becoming a better atmosphere for everybody when you look at it as a kind of stackable, scalable mission, vision, values from personal to a corporate and back down.
It's not top down or bottom up.
Yeah.
It's the holistic and, people going, oh, you're getting cosmic on me now.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe I am, but.
Yeah. Well, and I believe that if you're an organization and you have people so any organization's biggest, let's call it commodity for lack of a better word, is their employees, right? Because without them, they couldn't do anything. But if you have people that aren't a good fit for you, then it behooves you to help them move on and find somebody who's a better fit. And that may mean providing some outplacement services for people that you have all decided don't fit. And it also means that you're going about your recruiting slightly differently because you're looking for people based on their values and their vision and how they fit into the organization, as opposed to we just have this X role and it needs to be filled.
Right.
So,
right. And I sat on a hiring committee. I'll finish on this at HPU, and we were hiring a accounts payable. And it's not romantic. I mean, it's pretty mechanical and so forth. And so I'm not an accountant by training, but I kind of raised my hand before the first candidate came in, and I said, "So I see these questions and you're really asking about P&Ls and you're asking about deficiencies and, we're talking about policies and so forth. I said, all this is good. And I said, it's way above my pay grade. I'm here because I'm the outside person for you. Yeah. I said, there's not a question in here on where this person fits with my office, for example. Now, I'm grants and contracts. Mm-hmm. Well, it's given they're going to be working with your grants and contracts, the accounting. I said, no, it's not given. I said, because we haven't explained it in the position description. I said, and quite honestly, I don't want to hire somebody that doesn't know how to spell grants, because it's a different world from an accounting point of view. It's a different world than straight P&L, profit loss statements and so forth. It is. They didn't know. Yep. And so we delayed the set of interviews about 45 minutes. We apologized. We sent them off we had a coffee place, and we gave them all vouchers and said, go down there on us. Oh, thank you. Okay, no problem. And we hashed it out. Yeah. But I started kind of doing a mind map, and I said, okay, this person then does this within my unit, and then I go ahead and talk to the agency in Washington, D.C. They come back and ask for this, and then I go over to legal affairs, and legal affairs then verifies it. Wow, I didn't know. And they said they didn't realize all the paths that had to transpire to make sure the grant was in compliance. Wow. And so that became for me, the hiring process was way beyond just hiring an accounts receivable person, accounts payable, whatever it might be. Anyway.
Well, and I agree with that. And I believe it becomes like, so when I was at the conservatory, they were hiring a full-time position for a musicologist. And the chair of the department said to me, oh, we have 3 final candidates and it doesn't matter which one we hire. I said, no, you're not doing this right. If it doesn't matter which one you hire, it's like, because you need to hire the one that's going to be the best fit at the institution. It shouldn't, and it just, I was so floored. Yeah. Because it's like, people are not cogs that get stuck in a hole or in a gear, and you're just like, oh yeah, you'll just fit in there until, you don't.
And why have interviews?
Yeah.
Why have interviews, and why have references?
And I feel like in a time where we have AI creating resumes, right? And there's 1,000 people applying for one job. This becomes even more important, understanding the value of humans and what they bring to the table.
Yeah. We can talk offline.
Anyway, we just, but
we go on forever. This was fun, and let's do it again if you'd like. And
thank you.
Good luck and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Thank you. Same to you.
And we will talk later.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.